host Eric. I'm the host talking to Fizz people. And I'm here with host Tiffany, host Zachary, and Fizz people, Nande, Patrick, also known as Trick Nasty, and in and out, perhaps even a little bit of Mandy. We don't know if she's coming back or not. So
I'm gonna be in and out too.
Alright, fine. So, anyway, the point is, we're here to talk about shadow functions, as they're called. These functions in the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th slot, and how they play out in the cognitive function stack. I think we should do INTP, ENTP, INFJ, because I think everybody in here right now is one of those types. So, I feel qualified to talk about all three of those as well. Let's start with function 6. The 6th slot function is where you are vulnerable to being deceived. So if you are going to be tricked by somebody, you're going to be tricked by somebody with the opposite orientation of the same dominant function. So for me, I'm trickable by INFJs. But so too, INFJs are trickable by me.
Wouldn't your 6th function be TE, though?
If you're trying to trick someone, you want to look at their 6th slot.
Wouldn't your 6th slot be TE?
6th slot's TE. Fifth is NI for ENTP.
ENTP, the 6th slot. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I said 6th. I meant 5th. My bad. I don't know why I did that. That's ENTP dumbness right there. That's the way ENTPs are dumb. I mean, the 5th slot is the fool you function slot. Okay? So for me, it's NI. For Zach, it's TE. So you know who's your BFF type is ENTJ, and if anybody's going to fool you, it's going to be Kunkel. Kunkel could pull the wool over your eyes, right? And Nande here could pull the wool over my eyes or Tiffany's eyes. And probably Patrick's too. We're kind of going back and forth with Patrick.
Okay, give me an example of pulling the wool. How would Kunkel pull the wool?
Right.
Okay, well I think what that means basically is you're susceptible to tricks that utilize TE. You're susceptible to being convinced that a given algorithm is a good algorithm to follow, and you're more willing to not assess it with your TI if it's done by a TE DOM than you would otherwise be in any other circumstance. So, and I think for me, it plays out as it has played out, that when that INFJ best friend of mine is wrong, I have a tendency to believe him, and it can have some somewhat disastrous effects. If he's wrong about if his perception is about my limitations, then his wrongness is holding me back, you know? And it has in the past. We've had conflict over it.
So the 6th function, or the 5th is the one that... 5th is the one you get tricked with, yeah?
Yeah, but it's also the people you can best trick.
Really?
So INFJ can be tricked by me. Not that I ever try to. See, INFJs, and the good thing is we're also the best friend types, right? That's what makes us vulnerable to them. You're vulnerable to your best friend, but it's usually never a problem because your best friend is not trying to fuck you. But if they're wrong, it can fuck you without intention, right?
So, okay, my partner then, having T in the 2nd slot, how do you think that manifests with us?
You mean she has TE in the 2nd slot? I think that's... What's her dominant function? SI?
SI.
It's inside. I don't know. I don't know how 6 and 2 match up. I only have anything to say about 6 and 1 matching up. I mean 5 and 1, 5 and 1, 5 and 1. I don't know why I keep going saying 6. Anyway, I think you feel comfortable with her dominant tool, right? I think that's the key thing. That's her, or not her dominant function, but it's her tool function, TE. I think you feel comfortable with her way of approaching problem solving. But not necessarily. I'm sorry.
She needs to learn how to use her TE. Akin to how you and my ENFP friend show me how to use any. She needs a ENTJ to come in her life as a best friend, but I can show her how it's done. That's what she needs.
Well, ENTPs and INTPs have that reciprocal complementary thing going on where INTPs hold ENTPs accountable, so they have to be strict with their TI. Not so much of an issue with me, just because I'm a debate coach, but I think in general ENTPs have a tendency to get fanciful, and INTPs force us to be accountable to actual TI stuff, you know. And similarly, INTPs have a tendency to get stuck with their seventh function, SE stuff, and ENTPs help motivate them to do it. Because NE is more of a do it function, a lot more of a do it function than having a judging function in the dominant slot. So that's my thoughts about the fifth slot. I got to go get more cigarettes now. Zachary, can you take over for a little while? I'll be back.
Yeah. So the sixth slot for me would be NI. Now, your sixth slot is usually what you're going to be good at unconsciously, because you're good at it, but you don't prefer it, right? So if you're like an ISTJ, for example, so like an ISTJ would be good at TI, but they wouldn't prefer it. They wouldn't trust it over the functions they prefer. I think the way I see the cognitive function paradigm is that everyone has access to all the functions, but depending on the preference order, your preference order is what makes your type, right? So you prefer to use certain functions over the other ones, and you repress the functions that you don't use. And those repressed functions do manifest, but I think they only manifest during very stressful situations. Like I've read that INTPs can become almost ENTJ-like when they're under extreme stress because it's the shadow functions of all of their primary faculties. It's where all the stuff that they usually repress unconsciously and it comes up, manifests abruptly. The sixth function for an INTP would be NI. So NI, we're good at it, but we don't trust it. It can bring about. The reason we don't trust it is because we have dominant TI most of the time, and NI can be it can be vague sometimes. You know, it can be just like a vague conception. At least for me, that's how I experience it. So I try to, I guess, only utilize it when it's absolutely necessary. But it doesn't really come consciously. You know?
Does it come when you're stressed out, when you criticize people in a negative way?
I think TE does, but I don't know about NI necessarily. I don't really know. How do you think NI would be used to criticize someone?
Well, according to the socionics model, that an INTP would sort of parent people in a positive way with NE, and they would parent in a negative way with NI. So NE would be like, oh, look at all these possibilities that you could do, and then if the INTP was in a negative state or the situation was causing the INTP stress, then they might break out the NI in a negative way, calling forth like big patterns to tell the other person that what they're doing is not going to work out.
I guess that can I can see instances where I've done that before, where when I'm stressed out about something, I'm very irritable. I'm very abrupt with people, and it's not always very, I guess, constructive toward a good relationship, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're an INTP as well, yeah?
Well, Eric's typed me as an INTP. I've been typed by an INFJ as an ENTP.
What do you feel more inclined toward?
What do I feel?
Yeah, which one do you feel more inclined toward?
I've had a lot of stress in my life, so if I look back over my whole life, I was, as a child, I was not introverted. All I did was play sports, jump off swing sets, climb trees, do all sorts of things like that.
I had a similar childhood, actually. I feel like I was more extroverted when I was younger.
Yeah, and like I really didn't become introverted or introspective. Well, I've really become introspective over the last couple of years, but really, mostly it was the people I was around. I was kind of bored by, so I would read a lot because I didn't have any other way to stimulate myself.
Right. Yeah, I think I experienced that too, where there was I had built a social circle of people who were also into sports and into physical activities, and then as I got older, I just sort of lost interest in that stuff, and my friends, I didn't really feel connected to my friends anymore.
Yeah, when I played summer pro league hockey when I was 15 with a bunch of Division I guys who were already drafted by the pros. And there was a point where I just quit because my dad wanted me to play, and I felt like he was a control freak. He was a ESTJ, and he would always tell me just to play sports so I could get a scholarship. But I just stopped playing pretty much just to be contrary to him.
Hmm.
And,
I think that might be, since your father's an ESTJ. See, my father he's an ESJ for sure. I think he's an ESFJ, but I think that could have a lot to do with it because when I was younger, my dad was very pushy towards like physical outdoor activities and whatnot. Like there were many times when he would like lock my brother and I out of the house and tell us to go do a physical activity, and we just go get into some shit.
yeah. You said your brother was an ESTP, right?
Yeah, so that's what he was doing anyways. But
Right. I never had any problem doing physical stuff. I'm actually very athletic, and if I could ever get a picture up, you could see, my build. It's not like I'm not built, like a bookworm, but I started to read because I couldn't get much intellectual stimulation any other way.
yeah, there aren't many. You're not gonna probably find many intellectuals within sports. I had the same experience as well.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was looking for that. I didn't know what I was looking for when I was younger. I started getting as I started to get older. This was maybe I was probably about to enter middle school, or maybe a little bit younger than that, maybe 5th or 4th grade. I remember I lost the I just started feeling like I was missing something all the time, and I think that's when my desire to like learn about things I think first sprouted.
Yeah, it's weird because I always I actually like the physicalness of sports, and I balance myself out by reading about stuff. But once I stopped playing sports, that's what I felt like I was actually missing.
Really, I definitely feel like when I engage in physical activities, it allows me to focus more on things that aren't physical. A while back, I was going to a jiu-jitsu gym, and I felt like really, really calm outside of it. Like I was able to focus on everything I wanted to, and my state of mind was pretty calm, and I sort of just neglected it, and I needed to start back because I'm getting irritable again.
Yeah.
I also used to play a lot of sports. I used to play basketball all the time. And I played it for years and years at local pickup games around town or whatever. But I haven't done so in the last probably 15 years. And I don't really miss it, but I can see how one would. I can see many of the same benefits you're talking about, Zach, where you really feel as though you're chill for a little while when you exercise the shit out of your body, you know?
Yeah. Well, I see it as like, my ancestors probably engaged in a lot of physical stimulation, and suddenly to remove that from life, there's probably there's a key concept there. I think it's important to progress the physical realm as well as the cerebral. I think it needs to be aligned with each other.
You look like you have some athleticness in your background in your genetics.
Yeah, my it's weird that I'm an INTP because most of my dad's side of the family is full on physical. I just thought that was a funny quote to say, but they're like full on. I mean, just they're all super extroverted. I think one of my cousins is like, I think he won like a national championship in archery and shit. And all of my cousins play, like they're really engaged in sports. They all hunt too. I mean, I've done that before too, but and then on my mother's side, most of the family is all military. So it's weird that I'm an INTP.
Well, Zachary, the only difference is you hunt different game. You hunt opposing debate coaches. Okay?
Yeah.
That's who we hunt.
I've in my observations over the years, I've noticed there's like a talent type. Like you had this cognitive types, but I think there's a physical body talent type, and at least I feel like I can see it.
And what?
Physique?
Like,
With that.
oh, like physique. Yeah, I think it's.
He's talking about me, Zach. He's talking about me. He's saying, Eric, when I look at you, I think Greek god. And frankly, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. With muscles like these, I don't wear my shirts like this from now on. Make me look
I don't
extra
know about
tough.
Greek god, but
my dad's side of the family, I think I get more. My brother takes more from my mother's side of the family. My brother's like super tall. He's like 6'4", 6'5", something like that. I'm 5'10", and I take more from my dad's side, and they're all kind of like the burly type,
A block's probably 3/4.
So let's talk seventh function. Have we gotten to the seventh function yet?
No.
No, let's get into the seventh function.
The
My
trickster
seventh
function.
function is FI. I have no idea what I'm feeling. I have come to the conclusion that this is why I'm able to always kick Adderall without feeling bad. I have no idea how I'm feeling. Like right now, I'm not on Adderall. I feel exactly the same as I do when I'm on Adderall for a while. The only difference is there's a few days in between where I guess I cry a lot, but I would only notice that. The only reason I'm even aware that I do that is because I have videos documenting it.
Do you try to feel stuff?
No. I had a really weird conversation one time with a shrink. I said, he's like, well, how do you feel about blah, blah, blah? How do you feel about blah, blah, blah? He kept saying these questions about how do you feel about blah? How do you feel about blah? I said, look, dude, as far as I can tell, I walk around most of the time, I don't feel anything. I mean, what's there to feel? You're just thinking about whatever, right? He's like, everybody feels something all the time. And I said, I'm pretty sure that's not true. He said, yeah, it is, unless you're a sociopath. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm not a sociopath, but I'm also pretty sure at any given moment I'm not feeling anything.
Yeah, you're just a debate coach.
I mean, I'm just walking around thinking about shit, right? I'm not feeling stuff. Well, and then I thought about it more. I'm like, well, I probably am feeling something about the stuff I'm thinking about, but I'm either feeling like, ooh, that's a good potential, or I'm feeling, that fucking argument is so dumb. I can't believe people make that argument. I'm walking around thinking like that kind of shit. I guess those are feelings.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so that's the ENTP 7th slot. INFJ 7th slot is going to be TE. INFJ 7th slot is when they have to come up with protocols and rules for other people's behavior. They don't like to do that.
That makes
I don't do that.
Non,
Oh my god.
Nande, what did you say, Nande?
I said I don't like to do that.
Right. Our INFJ agrees. That's not fun for the INFJ. Go ahead, Patrick.
I've had an EST girlfriend, or she's now my ex-girlfriend for 7.5 years, and she would always tell me we have to make some sort of protocol, and I couldn't fucking stand it.
Yeah, that would fucking annoy me too. Well, what was your type?
Well, I've been typed by an INFJ as ENTP, and Eric is going back and forth right now.
I mean, what was your partner's type? The one at regular.
Oh, this particular one was ESTJ. But I had similar problems with the ESFJ and the ESTJ, like really the same problems, that all they wanted to do was clean the house all the time.
I went to Al Arena's house yesterday. I went to my friend Al Arena's house yesterday. He's the ESTJ. His bathroom's absolutely spotless. When I was done washing my hands in the sink, I washed away my little brown spots of dirt water from the sink because it was so like, Jesus Christ, you could do surgery in here, you know?
Yeah.
But it inspired me to clean my own bathroom today.
I feel crucified all the time, because like the ESFJ and the ESTJ, they were obsessed with it. It was like, to me, it was obsessive compulsive disorder.
They see their lives reflected in their external surroundings a lot.
Right? Yeah. I felt like they were both externally motivated completely, and they had no idea about who they were as individuals.
They've got a clear idea of who they are and who you are and what you should do.
They do not have a clear idea of who they are as
They have a very clear idea. It's just wrong.
No, they don't. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. They have a clear idea of what they want to be based on what social context they're in, but they have no idea who they really are.
They have a very clear idea of how others should perceive them to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that phrasing.
And they have a very clear idea of how others should perceive them to be and how others should perceive you to be as their spouse.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they have very clear ideas. And they're all fucking crazy. They're crazy ideas, but they're clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had my I perceived a lot of like incredible contradictions in my ESTJ-X.
You're not supposed to point those out, Patrick. Didn't you get the memo? You're not supposed to point those things out to them.
I got the. I know she didn't like it, but once in a while I'm like, quit fucking putting your TE shit on me. I'm not making a chore chart. I'm not going to make my life schedule.
Oh my god, the fucking chore charts.
If you keep pushing that shit on me, I'm gonna pick out all your fucking shit.
Well, what you should do is you say, if you make me do a chore chart, I'm going to make a counter chore chart. So I'm going to make a chart where I intentionally make a mess in this area on Tuesday, and you have to intentionally make a mess in this other area on Wednesday.
Yeah. It was just weird because I always see her thought process as being like completely contradictory to who I think she really is.
Okay, I'd like to move on now to the 8th function slot. If anybody
We didn't just INTP SE. I want to know. I don't
You're
know.
right. My bad. You're right. I'm glad you reminded me. That's a big problem for INTP. You guys need to just do it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's true. Pulling the fucking trigger.
Pull the fucking trigger. Right.
It's a big problem for NI DOMs too to just do it until they sort of mature.
Right. Well, INFJ has that in the 4th function. It's their inferior, right? It's conscious.
Right.
They're consciously bad at it. INTPs are unconsciously terrible at it.
That's true. That's fucking true.
So how would you explain that? I guess a little bit differently.
Well, I mean, I'd say this, that the INTP, they are so busy considering all the possible things and making sure it all checks out with their TI that it never even enters their consciousness that they need to stop thinking about it and just fucking do it.
They aren't doing anything. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. They see themselves as doing the only thing that needs to be done in the first place. What needs to be done is all this thinking and stuff. That's what needs to be done.
And then what about for the SE inferiors?
Okay, well, it's like my friend Corey. He's an INFJ, and he's forever attempting like exercise regimens that last for a little while, right? And like diets that last for a little while. Like I would never even attempt such a thing. It seems insane to me, right? It seems completely insane. But like, why would you go jogging every morning for a while and then go like, I failed to go jog? His weight goes up and down. His weight goes up and down because he really has. He's able to do shit. It's like me and my cleaning spurts, right? It's the same thing. He has doing spurts of doing shit, and then he has lazy ass long periods of lazy assness. You know. I have SI spurts. Like today, I cleaned the bathroom, right? And I sometimes spurt on the garage. I spurt all over.
Spurt on the garage.
I'm a spurter, you know. I spurt on things. It only sounds profane. It's actually a perfectly normal thing to do.
Depends on what you're spurting out of.
Yeah, I guess so. So anyway, the point is, for me, SE is not really a problem, right? In fact, for me, SE is not a problem. It's in the 8th function slot because in the 8th slot they say it's as close to conscious, the most close to conscious of the unconscious functions, and that you're actually pretty natural at it. But for me, it's abstracted out a level. So in other words, my SE it goes through NE first. That's why when that guy went up and walked up and slapped me, I had zero chance of even noticing him in the process of doing it in time to take any kind of action. That's SE conscious, where you're ready to take action, where you're actually consciously ready to take action at all times. It must be very strange. I don't know. I'm never ready to take action at all times, but I'm ready to do shit at all times, which is a little bit different, you know. But it's how SE manifests for me. I'm always down to do shit.
Yeah, what's the difference between like being ready to take action and doing shit?
Well, I think being able to take action in the physical world means action with your physical body or being responsive in the moment in a non-abstract way. So, like somebody who's SE Dom, if they're walking down the street and out of nowhere a branch from a tree cracks off and starts to fall, they're going to be able to jump out of the way, right? I'm not. It doesn't mean I'm unable to act. It means I don't act in that dimension because I'm not SE dominant. I'm not consciously thinking about SE stuff. I'm not consciously thinking about my body and space at all. SE is kind of not very useful anymore, you know, in the modern world. But you need it to do non-physical stuff.
It's annoying.
Say like an NI Dom is walking down the street in the same situation, and this tree branch starts cracking and falling. What do you think they would do?
I think inferior SE. I think inferior SE is prone to two things: non-action or overindulgence. I think they're very extreme with what they're doing because, like, that's how I am with FE.
Well, what do you think about his question, though? What do you think about his question?
What they would do?
Yeah, would they be likely to get out of the way? I would say no. They'd be similarly unlikely to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Because they're probably engaging in NI at that moment. Not and that's the opposite of SE. Just like I'm probably not engaging in cleaning right now. Whatever time it is you ask me, almost for sure I'm not engaging in cleaning. But sometimes I am. Go ahead,
I'd probably be thinking about what I'm supposed to be doing and not actually doing it, and by the time I'm supposed to be doing it, it's already happened, and I'm probably dead or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, see, the fact that she's saying, I'm thinking about what I'm supposed to be doing, to me, that tells me SE in the 4th slot. Just like I'm thinking about how I wish I could have my garage were cleaner or something, you know? But I'm never actually cleaning it. I'm not actually cleaning it, but I'm thinking about it. I'm giving it proper consideration.
The thing about ESTPs, the dominant SEs, living with one, if their environment is not engaging, they will fucking do whatever they can to make their environment entertaining for them. And it is the most annoying fucking thing ever. It is so hard to deal with.
They start shit in order just to be entertained.
Yeah, they really do. They will will start shit. They'll just fucking be annoying in general. I don't know if it's. I mean, maybe to certain people that would be like a great thing for them. But for an INTP, I think it's just it just annoys the shit out of me. And plus, like when we were younger, like if nothing was going on, he just wants to do SE stuff. And if that thing includes like brawling or something, like he'll want to mess up whatever is near him. Or one of the things they'll do is ESTPs, where they always want to do something. They'll take apart shit they own and put it back together. They do that shit a lot.
Did you ever do that when you were younger?
Not really. Only like if something was broken. But I was more interested in. I feel like my brother and I are similar in ways that I'm interested in taking apart things that are almost abstract, and he's interested in taking apart literal physical objects.
Do you think literal physical objects could extend to like painting or music?
Probably, yeah. Because I think if he took up like an artist, ISFPs, for example, are super involved with their with art most of the time. Not all of them, of course, but
ESTPs are drummers. Hey, are we done with our with our 5 through 8 shadow function review? We're at 30 minutes. What? Did we do 8 yet? Or not? Yes? No?
I don't think we really got to 8.
What's INTP? Let's talk about INTP's FI then.
Alright. Yeah, that's your 8. You must know your own feelings better than your other 5, 6, 7s, according to this model.
Yeah, I would say that. I don't like dealing with them. I'll try to avoid dealing with them, but I'm aware of them.
So what is the thing, Zach? What is the thing that most annoys you? Like, what is the thing that you look out into the outer world and then you just talk shit about?
Okay, I don't know if this is just like this. There are a lot of things I could probably name off, but one of the things that bothers me about external relations with people is when someone like, if you know there's an issue within like your relationship with someone, and they pussyfoot around the problem, or they don't want to talk about it. That shit kills me. I fucking hate that so much.
Nobody likes a pussyfooter, okay? Nobody likes a pussyfooter. It's well established.
Eric, what do you get pissed off? What do you talk shit about the most?
Oh, well, that's easy for me to answer. I get pissed when people don't talk fair. In other words, when they expect me to take their words seriously and respond to them, and when they then are non-responsive to my critiques. I expect everybody to, if they say something, and I'm like, but what about blah, that has to be answered before you get to move on to attacking what I'm saying. I don't like people who don't play fair.
Yeah. Nande, how about you? What do you talk shit about the most?
I guess I don't really like ignorance, like blatant stupidity. I don't know. I don't.
Sounds like Nefertiti, actually.
Huh?
There was a video that Eric had on. It was a couple months ago. Nefertiti. She said.
I think her name's Nefertari. Nefertari. Nefertiti is the Egyptian queen.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty close. I talk shit about hedonism all the time.
Oh, fuck hedonism. Fuck hedonism. I talk shit a lot. Well, I don't actively talk shit, but I internalize shit talking toward it. Like if hedonism is brought inside my mind, I think about it. I'm like, oh, fuck that.
Only half of the smoke are blowing out as tobacco smoke. Guys, what's wrong with hedonism?
I talk shit about it, but I'm jealous of it all the time.
Wouldn't you say I'm hedonistic?
Would I say you're hedonistic?
Yeah, somewhat.
Smoke this. Drink grape soda. You can't get much more hedonistic than grape soda.
I think there's like there's a difference in like I don't know. I think there's a certain difference in pursuit of pleasure, like of pursuit in I see hedonism as pursuit of SE related pleasure, right?
I'm not
The only-
hedonistic about sex, and I'm not hedonistic about gambling. I think that's the difference between ESTP and ENTP. ENTP is hedonistic about certain kind of drugs. ESTP is hedonistic about certain kind of drugs too.
About everything.
About everything. But here's the thing. I'm not hedonistic about gambling or sex. And I'm sure there must be a connection there, right? Like, I have no risk of ever being a problem gambler. As soon as I lose $50, I'm like, fuck this, I hate gambling. I just lost $50 that quickly? That's terrible. I lost $50 on the way up to Utah. We went through Vegas. I made one bet. I took $50. I had $5 chips, and I spread them around the roulette wheel trying to hit it and get paid, 32 to 1 or whatever. But I didn't. I lost $50, and then I was like, that's it, no more gambling. And I didn't even gamble on the way back at all.
I think it's like the thing we're not about hedonism isn't that I don't think that people should abstain from pleasurable experience or pleasurable catalysts or things that are catalysts for pleasurable experience. I don't think people should abstain from that necessarily, but I don't think it should be the ultimate goal. I think there needs to be some sort of transcendental essence to how one should live, and so it's kind of like a value thing for me.
Right. Well, I think if it is your goal, if hedonism is your goal, then you unavoidably take sort of a questionable moral stance towards others, if that's your ultimate goal.
I think that
if you prioritize it over other people, then you got a problem.
I think people who are true hedonists don't recognize that they're hedonists.
Some of them sort of do. Hey, Nande, what do you think about hedonism?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it.
Do you never get attracted to it or repelled by it?
I don't know. Could you give me an example?
Smoking crack? You like
No.
Maybe not quite that, but just indulging in sensual pleasures.
Who here has smoked crack? I have. Who else has smoked crack here?
I guess so.
Yeah, I have.
But I guess that's like also like my inferior function acting too, right? Like whenever I'm under stress, I guess I tend to do that more often, but generally not really.
Smoke crack?
INFJs under stress will either overindulge or they'll abstain too much.
I smoked crack one time, one night, and I drained my bank account getting more crack, and then I never smoked crack again.
What now? Can I say it again?
I was probably 25 years old, 24, I don't know, something like that. And I smoked crack one night. And then after we started smoking crack, I went and I drained my checking account and spent the rest of my checking, which wasn't a lot at the time. I was pretty young, It was a couple $100 or whatever. And I spent it on crack. And then I never smoked crack again after that. It was a waste of money and time, I can assure you. If you were considering in beginning some crack smoking, I'd recommend against it.
So, Nande, back to the eighth function. Do you ever find yourself stressed out and maybe, or do you deal with your past events a lot?
Wait, I just want to chime in. I have to go help my father or something, so I will be back shortly.
Okay.
What was your question? Sorry.
Since for an NI dominant, SI is the eighth function, and it's like something you're aware of. It's unconscious, but you're aware of it, and in some ways, it kind of holds you back from progressing forward. Do you ever experience that with your past history as a person?
Well, my mom and my dad got divorced, and my dad was a really good musician and an artist. So sometimes I would always think about, if he were still here. I mean, he's not dead or anything, but if he was still around to teach me all this stuff, I would be so much better at these things. So I'd always think about that, and sometimes that would keep me from actually doing them. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's.
Are you a musician, Nande?
Yes.
You're a musician. What kind of music do you play? What kind of instruments and stuff?
I play the violin. I've been playing for about 7 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Will you play violin on one of my songs?
I don't know.
You don't know. You know
I'm not
what?
promising anything.
That's fine. That's fine. But you know what
When you-
I provide? I provide do it. That's what I provide. A lot of do it, right?
when you
Anytime I
nowadays
hear
when you
anybody's a musician before I know anything else about them, I don't know how good you are or anything, I say, let's make a song together. Why not?
I'll think about it.
Okay?
when you get stressed out, like really stressed out, do you ever use anybody's past history against them to try to negate them in a way?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I know when I'm arguing with my brothers about like chores or something, I'm like, you didn't do the chores last time. So I don't know. That's as far as it goes for me that I can remember. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but
Yeah.
You're pretty good at this questioning thing, Patrick. I think you're definitely an oppressed ENTP.
Thanks. I've noticed quite a few things. So.
What's your thoughts having heard these answers and such? Any thoughts?
Uh, well, I mean, I think like the eighth function definitely has. It's weird. I think that's the satanic function. That's the thing that liberates you. It's the thing you most repress, but it's your biggest demon. So I feel like you tend to apply that to other people.
Sorry about that, Patrick. I was interrupted here as Delilah was whispering things to me.
Oh, it's all right.
Um,
My ESTJ ex-girlfriend, who's a recent ex-girlfriend, which is why I keep bringing it up. She had a problem with FE. She's always talking shit about FE type stuff, but at the same time, she's kind of like addicted to it.
where is that for her? 8?
Yeah, the ESTJ, that's eighth function.
Right.
So it's weird. And my brother's an ENTJ, and his girlfriend is an ENFJ, and they kind of argue about the same stuff. They argue back and forth with FE and TE stuff all the time, and it's really weird to hear them argue because they're always trying to make some sort of they're always trying to like agree on stuff, but they just can't really get to it because like the ENFJ can't really understand the TE, and the ENTJ, my brother, can't really understand the FE.
Hi, Eric.
Hey. Well, I think that's a good stopping point for 8 or 5 through 8 shadow function review. And I would like to just add that for the ANTP with the 8 function, I don't seem to have any problem with SE. As evidenced in this video, right? Nande's going to sit around and throw her NI at this proposition for a while before she comes to any conclusions. And, NI is not instantaneous. You got to let it come to its conclusions in its own time. So,
so do you have any NI conclusions at all, Eric?
Oh, I think I use NI quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I don't quite know how to talk about it.
I feel like I do too. But it just doesn't come out in an NI-ish way. When I talk to my NFJ acquaintances, it doesn't come out the same.
I can identify NI clearly in my freestyled songs. The parts that are NI are the parts that are as expected, but nicely so. Correct. Mm-hmm. Right. Normal. The parts that are NE are the surprising changes. And you got to have both in music. And I've come to rely heavily on NI, but I can't explain it. It's not conscious. It's not something I can choose to execute or not. It just has to happen, and I just have to let go. And that's something that's been hard for me to learn over time.
Yeah.
See, I think I experience my NI while listening to music. I think there's a certain point I reach when I'm listening to music where I identify everything as like a unitary essence, and that's when it becomes like really emotional.
Oh,
Well, your focus on oneness is something that I've heard INFJs talk about with music a lot. Nanda, does that resonate with you?
I don't. I'm not sure.
yeah. I wanted to ask you guys about this because, like everybody here, I heard somebody say a metaphor. I think. Oh shit! Did my phone die? No. Okay.
Maybe.
The person was saying that like a lot of NP types are flitting about the surface of the ocean, but NI types are down under the surface of the ocean, trying to dig up deep hidden truths and bring it up to the surface. What does everybody think about that?
What would NE be again?
NE, like the person was making an analogy that NE was sort of like skipping around the surface, picking up a bunch of different things.
I mean, that's just simple. That's the simple analogy, right? That NE is more surface, lots of different things. NI is singular things, more deep. I think it's dismissive to NE in general. I think it misunderstands the power of NE. That an NE-TI combination is damn near unbeatable.
You
But
think
that's type bias, of course. I think NE-TI is fucking the heaviest bat on the baseball team. 100%. You're never going to hear me badmouthing NE-TI. However, I have the most respect for the exact opposite type in terms of compliments, right? Everything that everyone's going to think their type's the best, obviously. I mean, it's unavoidable. If I were an INFP, I'm sure it'd be like, yeah, INFPs are best. Anyway, the thing is, but the point is, I like INTJs and I like INFJs, and I like ENTPs and I like INTPs, and I tend to like ESTJs, and I tend to like ISTJs. As far as a mate goes, I want an ISFJ. I need an ISFJ. I want my goddamn ISFJ woman. I want her to be, adorable and demure and attentive to my needs. Does that make me a misogynist? I don't know. That's what the fuck I want.
Nah, it doesn't make you misogynist.
That makes her a misogynist.
Really? Why? No, she just loves me a lot. That's why. My hypothetical ISFJ is madly in love with me. And that's why she likes attending to my needs so much.
I think with the gender roles, there's so much to go over and investigate.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a good time to end this video, I think. Let's start to close. It's a long one already. My computer is struggling to process it, especially when we had 3 videos going at once. It's giving me the red words saying high encoding rate. All right, but we have 0 dropped frames, so okay, 48 warning, high encoding. It's screaming at me again. Thanks for watching Talking with Famous People.